Are you a musician? Do you have a home recording setup? Ever suffered from writer's block? Ever found yourself staring at your instrument? Or not being able to finish songs? It happens to everyone. The greatest tool ever invented to get through this is sitting right in front of all of us. Yet no one is talking about it. Around 8 months ago, I was playing around with Suno, and it suddenly struck me that this might be the most powerful musical tool ever created. Yet all I see on the internet is a debate between AI music not being art and AI prompters who love using the tool. But there's a middle ground, a way to create 100% authentic, original, copyrightable music that you can use to further your career. And the fact that no one is talking about it makes me think one of two things. Either I'm the only person in the world who's thought of this, or other people are using it and just not talking about it. Because if you're using Suno the way everyone else is, you're using Suno wrong. Are you ready to find out the secret? Before we get too deep into the weeds, we should talk about one very important thing, and that's lyrics. I have found that lyrics are just as important to the output of Suno as is the prompts that you use to get your music. Writing your own lyrics is always going to be better than using an AI to create your lyrics for you. There's a very simple reason for this. When AI creates lyrics, it depends too heavily on something called iambic pentameter. This is why, when you read AI lyrics, it sounds so much like roses are red, violets are blue. Therefore, I highly recommend you write your own lyrics. Using lyrics that don't necessarily rhyme or have odd structures force Suno to create more interesting music. Either write your lyrics yourself or use AI to create lyrics and then heavily edit them. This idea is enough to be a topic for its own video, and it probably will be at some point in the future. But let's get to it. First, log into Suno. Go to the Customs tab, input your lyrics, and start generating iterations of your song. It often can take many generations to create an output that is interesting enough to be worthy of becoming an actual song. Next, use Suno's Create AI stems to create the stems that we plan to use for the song we have chosen. Then, we place these stems inside of Ableton Live. With this particular song, we have a drum track, a bass track, a guitar track, a synth track, a vocal track, and an FX track. Each of these tracks get their own individual channel. Notice now how I am zooming in and looking at the beginning transient. At this time, Suno did not have the Use Tempo Lock function. Today, Suno is much better at placing the transient on the 1, which is going to be important if we plan to lock this track to Ableton's metronome. Notice now how the drums lock perfectly to the metronome. I am now using a VST instance of XLN's Addictive Drums, which I like to use because it's very fast and easy to create an authentic sounding drum beat. Yet there's nothing stopping you from using any other drum plugin to achieve the same result. See how Addictive Drums now is locked perfectly with the AI's drum track? If you're familiar with doing any sort of editing in a digital audio workstation, then you've edited drums before. You know how this is done. We just keep editing the drums until we get a result that's similar to that of the AI's drums. As will be a continuing theme in this video, it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it's better if it's not. We now have the entire drum beat completely mapped out in MIDI. Notice now how I can take out the AI's drums and leave the program drums that I have created. Let's repeat the process. Let's record the bass guitar. You don't need to be a virtuoso, but you do need to know how to play your instrument. Use your ears, figure it out. It doesn't have to be exact. Next, let's look at the keyboard part. Suno still at this time has a problem figuring out the difference between affected guitars and synth tracks. For this song, I'm using Zebra 2 to recreate the synth sound. It doesn't have to be exact, and as I keep saying, it shouldn't be exact. This is an artistic choice that you have to make. It doesn't matter your genre, and it doesn't matter what kind of music you make. The same principles will still apply. Now, I'm not much of a piano player, so I have to do this by ear. I figure out what the chords are and just create the MIDI notes. Now, let's look at Suno's FX track. What we have here are a bunch of risers and drops, reverse cymbals, and crashes. This is what Suno sometimes calls the other section, sounds that just don't quite fit with other tracks. All I'm doing here is taking some samples, pitching them so they're in key, reversing them, combining them, and making them sound as close as possible, not spending too much time. Add some reverb, and go. Now, let's record a guitar track. For this track, I'm using a Jazzmaster, going through a clone into a Boss SE70 effects processor from the 1990s that I picked up for about 150 bucks. You don't have to be rich to be able to make good music. The goal of this track is just to play the basic idea of the guitar part. Let's keep layering guitars. For this track, I'm still using my Jazzmaster, except this time I'm going through my Fender Super Reverb guitar amp. It's being mic'd with a ribbon microphone, and I'm using a Klon clone pedal and an Analog Man King of Tone. You don't need expensive or rare equipment like this to make good music though. You could just be using your stock guitar amp simulator. Notice again how I've changed the part. I'm not playing it exact. Your creativity will just come through naturally. Next up, I'm using an Epiphone Dot, which is like a Gibson 335. I'm still going through the Fender Super Reverb with the ribbon mic, and I'm still using the Klon clone and the King of Tone. However, on this track, I believe, I did not use the right side of the King of Tone. This gives added character to the end guitar track. Next, for even more character, I'm doing what I like to call a drug track. This is a background track that I bring down low in the mix to give a big, spacious reverb wash. To achieve this, I'm using an old Yamaha FX500 effects processor from 1989 that was made famous by a band called Slowdive. These old units can be picked up for around $100 to $125, but that's a secret, don't tell anyone. For the guitar, I'm using my Paul Reed Smith. You may not realize this, but by now, you're not hearing any AI at all except for the vocal, which we're about to correct. Next comes the vocals. I only did 2 takes. I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I could have done a much better job, but let's just get this done.
All my brokenness.
What you're hearing is raw.
In my hiding place, underneath my skin. All my
Okay, so here we are. We have the stereo mixes. Above, we have my version of the song, and beneath it, we have the AI version. AI. My version.
in my hiding place, underneath my skin. All my
You hear that artifacting in the AI?
in my hiding place.
Sounds like a bad MP3.
underneath my
Meanwhile, the real version that I created has depth, sharpness, definition. Sounds like a blanket's been thrown over it.
hiding place. All my troubles hide from the light of day. All my troubles
Do you hear the difference?
hide in my hiding place. All my troubles hide from the light of day. All my troubles hide in my hiding place.
It's not even close.
Everything is hidden till it's broken. Everything is hidden till it's lost. Everything is hidden till it's broken. Everything is hidden till it's gone. All my troubles hide from the light of day. All my troubles hide in my hiding place. All my troubles hide from the light of day. All my troubles hide in my hiding place.
So what have we learned? We've learned a couple things. AI music is not worthless. AI music is a great way for a musician to get over writer's block, or as a sketchpad to create new music. It's an outlet for people with home recording setups to be able to practice their art without having to worry about having to come up with amazing ideas on the spot. This is an amazing way for beginner, intermediate, and even advanced songwriters to get things done. But there's a deeper and darker implication of using this technique and releasing music. But we can talk about that in a different video.